Aggie land. Welcome to the SEC.
Our program will be built on 4 principles in which I talk about all the time: toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it! I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
Now I'm distracted on my point. What were we talking about?
It's bullcrap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him. Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
That's how long I've been on ya.
It's Nuño and the crew on TexAgs Radio, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
You know how long I've been on ya.
All right, my friends, it is the day before the NIT Final Four. Welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So the lone SEC team playing hoops still is, yeah, that's right, Texas A&M. Washington State tomorrow night. Again, we're going to have to break down here today and obviously tomorrow when we hit NYC, a game that Logan's going to be at, Jamie's going to be at, Olin, myself will all be in attendance. This after a weekend where the Aggie baseball team blows a couple of games against Auburn. A tough weekend to say the least. No doubt about that. Late leads and just unfortunate. Early lead in the game yesterday. A late lead on Friday night. So not a good one. The pitching staff is thin. The bullpen is having some issues. Friday they blow that game. You know, they scored 9 runs yesterday, though, thinking that should be enough to win a game, but they give up 13. And tomorrow they have the University of Texas. Who's going to start that one? We'll have Schloss on the show a little bit later on this morning. I have no idea. We'll see if we get some clarity there. We have some football to discuss. There was a scrimmage this weekend. Hope to get some reports back from Billy here over the next couple days. And Johnny Manziel tells TMZ he wouldn't mind coming back to Texas A&M in some kind of capacity. Says his football playing days are done except for the 7-on-7 league that he's doing. So what do you think of all that? We can have you call in the show at 979-693-1150. That is the BCSI hotline, or you can text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. And with that, we begin the Go Hour with my buddy, Olin Buchanan, our Heisman Trophy voter. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So what would you think about Johnny Manziel coming to work for Texas A&M?
Let me see how I can phrase this to where it's almost like adding Colin Kaepernick to your staff. Can it be done? Sure. Do you want that kind of limelight on an assistant coach?
Well, I don't think he'd be an assistant coach.
No, if in the program in some capacity, anything Johnny does, I'm cool with.
I think he'd be a guy that would go out and play golf with big name boosters.
Oh, I'm 100% cool with that.
Yeah.
I'd love to have him around. I would.
I don't think you should force him on a staff, and I don't, quite frankly, all it would take is one guy to disagree with him about something, and then you can bring up his past and why am I listening to you? But if you had him in a fundraiser capacity, I think that could be I think that could work.
Yeah, he did mention coaching or being involved with football in some capacity. Did say there's 2 articles about him, one through ESPN, one through TMZ. TMZ more on the coaching side. The ESPN one just talked about his playing days being over, and he's okay with that. He knows that he squandered some pretty good opportunities out there in the NFL and also in the CFL. I really wish he still played because I love watching him play.
Oh, I loved watching him play. He was so exciting and fun to watch, and you never knew what he was going to do. And when he did some crazy things, they always seemed to work out. He's always teetering on the edge of chaos.
Yep.
But it always seemed to work out, right? It was almost like watching one of your old Batman TV shows, right?
Yeah.
But he was very immature in the NFL, and he did all the things that cost his team.
Do you remember when the immaturity thing started showing up here at Texas A&M? Like, at what point did those rumblings come out?
Well, all right, first of all, when you're in college, I can forgive a certain amount of immaturity because you're in college. But when you decide to take a paycheck and you have other people on that team whose livelihood depends quite a bit on what you do and how you carry yourself and how you play, then, you've got to understand it's not just about me anymore. It's about a team, and I'm taking millions of dollars, and guys are counting on me. But I think here, what really stuck in my mind was once when he got a parking ticket because his car was parked the wrong direction.
Okay.
And the cop actually went to the door to say, hey, here's the problem. I'm giving you the opportunity. He wasn't there. Someone was there and said, well, I don't have the keys. So they gave the now, a lot of people, you wonder if they would have done the same. Maybe they do. Maybe they would have come to my house, say, hey, you need to turn your car, or I have to give you a ticket. But maybe they didn't. But Johnny's reaction was, I can't wait to leave this town.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I remember thinking, there might, and at the time I didn't know that there would be, but there might come a time when Bryan College Station is the only place where you're still beloved. And I think that time has come. I think it came quite a while ago, actually.
Yeah.
But I think he could come back I could see him coming back, living here, getting paid well to work in the athletic department as a fundraiser, and again, play golf with big time donors and be fun and all those things. I could see that happen.
I just want him involved in the university and around every once in a while. It's great when I see him on the sidelines with Luch and, at games and just being around.
Johnny is a nice guy when you pin him down. He's not the most reliable fellow. Now, or he wasn't. We all change. We mature and we change.
Yep.
So he may be now. But he was not reliable. But if you finally got him, he could be wonderful with kids. He could be very nice to be around, very polite to people. It was just we always thought maybe he had, like happens with a lot of athletes, maybe he had some people from back in the day that he would have been better off, breaking off contact with.
I don't know about you, but I think I was less disciplined after college. So in college, there was definitely a crazy streak or whatever, a party streak, whatever you want to call it. Miss class, sleep too long, all that kind of stuff that a lot of kids go through. But I think when I started making a paycheck and I was completely on my own, I definitely was a little bit more reckless.
Yeah, but you weren't the quarterback of an NFL franchise where so much of the success of everybody depends on you and how you carry yourself. You could go out and do something stupid, and they'll just, hey, we'll fire you and just hire somebody else and not miss a beat. But there's only a handful of people in the world that can do the job that he was given to do, and he abused it.
And there's only a handful of people that can abuse that position and get a huge raise after missing a year. But that's a topic for a different day. So did you check out social media last night?
I did not last night.
But this morning.
This morning I have been.
This morning. Are you on Team Will Smith or Team Chris Rock?
Well, first let me say, didn't watch any of the Oscars because I couldn't care less. And even with this, normally I'll just say I'd be on Team Chris Rock because as I watch, I see Chris Rock tell a joke, which is what comedians do.
Especially at the Oscars.
And I see Will Smith laugh, and then he gets this cold stare from his wife, who you've told me things about that I didn't know. And so now he decides, okay, I'm going to defend her honor. Well, can't you do that at an after party or something? Just say, okay, babe, I'm going to take care of this, but I'm going to wait till the right time. How many times over the course of history in the Oscars do you think some comedian said something that really made a lot of people mad, or any other award show, and you behaved a certain way, right? Now you can say, well, you shouldn't have told that joke. Okay, fine, but I guess I wouldn't have minded, or I don't mind anyway. But I guess I wouldn't react as much if Will Smith had slapped Chris Rock at an after party.
Here's the deal. The double standard and the things that celebrities get away with, we talked about this. Let's say we're doing the TexAgs kickoff presentation luncheon, right? And I make a joke about somebody. And they come and they slap me on the face, or if Gabe's the MC, they slap him in the face. That guy is arrested immediately. Security is involved immediately. Everybody just kind of watched. And I think people watched initially because the first time I saw it, I was like, this is an act. But then if you see the behind-the-scenes footage or the unbleeped version, you see the language that Will was 100% for reals. Mm-hmm. That is assault. That is jail time. No, he's going to sit down. He's going to get an award a little bit later, and everyone's going to forgive him.
Yeah, I think when I watched, I'm surprised that they didn't have that. There's no security. That when someone starts to come on the stage, when they're not supposed to, that someone doesn't come out. And I think the perfect way to have handled that would have been to escort him off and kick him off the premises. Talk about Will Smith.
Yep.
Then when he finally won that Oscar, that the fact that he was, I think so much of this stems from a joke Chris Rock told like 3 years ago about Jada Pinkett Smith being all pissed off that Will didn't get nominated for concussion. And imagine had he been escorted off the premises and then actually finally wins the Oscar and can't be there to deliver an acceptance speech.
I'm going to give you a couple different scenarios too, and then we'll move on. What if it was a fan who did that?
He'd be in
jail immediately. They would have probably. Okay. Do you remember when was it Monica Seles who got stabbed?
Yeah, she got stabbed.
Yeah. What's the difference? I mean, obviously, stabbed and slapped are completely different ballparks, but I'm saying the intent of going on and assaulting somebody is the same.
Yeah. I guess Will Smith isn't a stalker of Chris Rock. I guess the other one was more premeditated.
Yeah.
But it is damaging, I think, to Will Smith's career. There are those that are going to support him. I understand that. There are those that are going to criticize Chris Rock, and I understand that. But to do that and then to shout the profanities the way he did, and then the fact that he's a guy that speaks out against violence.
Mm-hmm. Did it yesterday.
So the hypocrisy is there. And then when it starts getting out that some of the things that he will allow that involves his wife, but he can't take a joke, things that I didn't know until I was educated about that, more and more people are going to know.
Yep, it's going to bring more light to it. By the way, if you want to talk about that, we can. We'll try to keep it to Texas A&M basketball, baseball, football. But, I mean, it is a hot
Let's
topic.
hope the Aggies slap Washington State like
you know what?
Like Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
I will say this. I know there are some very talented people on their boards and people who work here in the office.
Yeah.
We need a meme of Jimbo slapping Lane Kiffin.
That would be fun.
That would be great. Change the faces and just Jimbo pap. Even though I'm not okay with what Will Smith did, for joke's sake, that would be a funny one.
When I was working in the previous job at Rivals, when we would talk on the phone, I used to have to do a Big 12 report. And there was always the quote of the week. And before I'd actually met Hunter, I used the quote of the week. You'll remember the big Nebraska game when Brandon Jones had the camera.
Yeah.
And Bo Pelini's brother, Carl, Russ. And the quote was from Hunter saying, I wish I'd have been there to punch Carl, or it would have been worth a night in jail to punch Carl Pelini in the face, or in the nose, whatever. I'm getting it off just a little bit, And right to your point, even Hunter Goodwin knew that had he punched Carl Pelini, as much as we all would have enjoyed that, he would have spent a night in jail, but Will Smith did not.
All right, if you want to be a part of the discussion, call us up, 979-693-1150. That's the BCSI hotline. You can text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. Let's go behind the glass. Sam Kamen, our director today, is on Team Will Smith, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I was just trying to spice it up. Someone's got to take Chris Rock's side. I was going to take Will Smith's side, but...
What's the side? Why?
Well, I mean... I get why he defended his wife. Like, it's a little insensitive, but everything can be handled. He could have handled it a little bit more professionally.
There are after parties.
Yes. But even on the YouTube chat, 10K Runner says, Olin, don't slap David, please. From sincerely, Chris Rock.
I wish he would. I wish he would.
You wish I'd slap you?
No, I'm kidding. No, that would be really awkward because then I have to look in the mirror to see if my makeup got smudged, and then I'd have to kill you. That would not be good for anybody. I'm just kidding. Let's go check in with Tomas Romo there at the News and Social Center. Another great weekend of baseball for you, at least.
Yeah, we had a good weekend. 3-game series against SFA to open up conference play. We got the sweep, so it feels good to come out with a win this weekend.
Yeah, congratulations. Baseball this weekend was not very nice to the team that Jim Schlossnagle coaches. Excuse my poorly phrased statement.
I got 2 headlines for you, David. First off, number 12, women's tennis stuns number 7, Georgia, in 7-0 sweep. In the most complete performance of the 2022 season, the Texas A&M women's tennis team stunned the hometown fans and demolished the 7th-ranked defending SEC champions Georgia Bulldogs 7-0.
Yep, that's good stuff right there. Anything else, Tomas?
Quick talk on baseball. Aggies fall short in rubber match against Auburn. Texas A&M Aggies lost the final game of their series against the Tigers 13-9 on Sunday afternoon. Dylan Rock led the team with a 3-run homer, 2 walks, and 2 runs, while Cole Kaler batted 2 for 3 with a double, 2 walks, and 3 runs. And David in Temple says, well, ABC was worried about the poor ratings. I expect they paid these 2 to do it. It's got every morning TV show buzzing. Fake fight.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's fake either. And I believe there's a thing called escalation. And, what's going to happen next time? Maybe not at the Oscars, but, it opens the door for worse things. Although Kanye did the Taylor Swift thing, we didn't see anything. Because Kanye's crazy. We didn't see anything escalate from that. So
he didn't punch her, Had he punched her, it might have been a...
But still, one of the most... and I'm a Kanye guy. One of the most classless things I've ever seen. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. See, I don't like either one of them, so...
Taylor Swift or Kanye?
No.
Yeah. Kanye's... He's got some good
We
music.
had a local guy that used to have a radio show locally, and he was on the air talking about how the Beatles were overrated. And then he said, Taylor Swift, that's my jam. And I remember thinking, you said that in public.
Hey, let me respond to this text. Matt in College Station. David, how could you ever compare Johnny Football to Colin Kaepernick? JF may have been immature and have problems with alcohol, but he never disrespected the country. I'm not comparing him. I'm comparing the heat.
The situation.
No, I'm comparing the heat, right? A lot of times you don't hire a coach because of the baggage that he may come with. Sometimes, right? I'm saying, so the limelight, you don't want your backup quarterback or your assistant coach to get more headlines than the starter, and that's all I meant by that. Sometimes a program is better off not having them on the coaching staff, I'm saying, in the administration. Good stuff. And by the way, if Johnny does great stuff to rebuild his image, of course, I'm all here for it.
Well, let's put it this way. They both have been scrutinized for off-field issues. Now, personally, one of them, I think, was more, his off-field antics were even more offensive than the other. I'll let you figure out which one.
Yep.
And so I think that Johnny Manziel, like I said, could come here and be welcomed as and make a lot of money as a fundraiser. And
sure.
People want to be. I don't know that Colin Kaepernick, maybe he could, but I'd be skeptical that he could go back to Nevada and do the same thing.
Yeah, it may be a poor comparison. I'm just saying the light shined on the person, right? Sometimes you don't want assistants having, I'm sure Nick Saban wasn't a huge fan of Lane Kiffin getting a lot of the attention because of some of his antics.
And if Tim Tebow went back to Florida as an assistant coach, even though everything about him is very positive, that might actually detract from what you're trying to get done.
That would have probably been a better comparison. Thank you, OB. All right, let's do this. Let's hit a break. When we come back, who brought the heat this weekend? I got a name for you. OB, I'll give you time to come up with one. But right now, time for the Association of Former Students. Great crew over there and great job that they do out there. They've been serving the Aggie Network for over 140 years. Your gifts have inspired them to be here, there, and everywhere. And they've done so many different things like scholarships, Aggie Band, Silver Taps, Ring Day. They just continue to help Aggie after Aggie all around the world out there. That's what they do, and they do it so well. But they do it because of you, people just like you, people who are listening to this show right now. IamTheWhy.com is the website you need to go check out to hear these stories, to see these stories and feel it. I think all Aggies are empowered by the other Aggies around us because our spirit lives on and does so much for others. So that's why when you go to IamTheWhy.com, you're going to see these stories. They're going to make you feel so good about what they do and just being associated with this incredible institution. They talk about Aggie muster, gathering, fish drill team. There's a story about Jose who talks about the challenges his family overcame in order for him to be at A&M and how scholarship helped him stay in school. That's what you get at IamTheWhy.com. I encourage you to check it out right now. It's the Association of Former Students.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. Get pre-approved today with a 5-minute loan approval. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. A short ceremony will be held on Tuesday at 1 p.m. in front of the Downtown Bryan Library Vietnam Monument. All are welcome. The Bryan Noon Lions Club is hosting the 48th annual John and Bess Slovacek Memorial Sausage Supper fundraiser on Tuesday from 5 to 7 p.m. in the Bryan High School Circle Drive. Purchase your tickets ahead of time. Find a link at WTAW.com. You're invited to the Aggieland Delta Waterfowl Chapter Banquet on Thursday at the Brazos County Expo Center. Tickets must be purchased in advance at deltawaterfowl.org/events. There is a free class offered to seniors on healthy aging the first Wednesday of every month. Contact the Mature Well Lifestyle Club for more information. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Who do you think is the best? Nominations are now open for the 22nd year of the Best of the Brazos Valley. Go to bestofthebrazosvalley.com and submit your nominations for the best in dining, entertainment, service, retail, automotive, health, and wellness, and everything in between. If you think it's the best, make sure it's on the Best of the Brazos ballot. After 22 years and hundreds of thousands of votes, this is the one that counts. Nominate now at bestofthebrazos.com.
If you own construction equipment and need replacement rubber tracks, now's the time to get $200 off your next set of rubber tracks at WPI. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan. Hurry in. $200 off rubber tracks in soon. Highway 21 East at Marino Road, or click WPI.com.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Should we actually be giving Rodgers credit? He held this organization hostage for a full year. They are the reason why they don't have Devontae Adams. Not get the talent, but I mean the Pat McAfee show, the beautiful mystery. It's alienated a fan base on Aaron Rodgers to a major degree. Now all of a sudden we're going to come out of this whole thing like, yeah, we deserve more credit. No, giving him more credit.
Listen in to Key, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor from 5 to 8 on The Zone.
Welcome back in. We are TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We call this Who Brought the Heat? Try to do it on Monday from the weekend. We look back at the football game or the basketball, baseball, whatever, tennis, you name it. And, OB, I'm going to let you take the first one here, as I know you did some research on the weekend. Who do you think brought the heat?
Well, I went to the game on Saturday.
Yep.
Got back from Baton Rouge and said, hey, let's go pick up a game. And Dylan Rock. I was really impressed with that guy. I've heard good things about him anyway, but so I looked it up, and he played really well at the game. One of his outs was just a great play by the on Saturday. It was a great play by the center fielder. I mean, he hit the ball on a line going to the wall, and the guy was just able to snare it. But so it seemed like he hit the ball hard all weekend. He was 5 of 12. I know he had at least one home run. He had 6 RBI. I'm going to say it this way: RBIs.
RBIs, yeah.
RBIs. So he had 6 of them, and just played really well. I wish they all hit like that guy.
Dylan Rock, 2 homers over the weekend, 5 on the season, 6 RBIs, you mentioned, 5 hits, 5 out of 12, hit .417 on the weekend. I'm going to go pitching here, and I'm going to go with Micah Dallas, who was phenomenal, even though he got roughed up a little bit to start the game. I think, was it 4 runs in the first couple of innings?
Yeah, but in the first inning when they got 2, there was one of those fly balls in the left field where the shortstop's running back and he's trying to.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, why isn't the left fielder coming up and taking this? And it drops in. It turns into be a big inning. It didn't have to be.
It did not have to be, but he still struck out 10.
Yeah.
And he retired 16 out of his last 17 batters in 7 innings of work. And Schloss told us on this show, and we'll talk to him here in a little bit, in about 35 minutes. He's experimenting. He's trying to put different things because you can't expect the same results if you keep putting the same thing out there and getting those results that you're getting. So he's going to keep experimenting. But that being said, your starters have to go deeper because how many games has this team lost after the 7th inning? 5 or 6 games, something like that?
Now, the relief pitching was good on Saturday.
Yep.
Will Johnston, I think his name was, or Johnston, he came in.
Yep.
And pitched 2 strong innings. And I can't remember the kid's name, but he's from Madisonville. He came in and pitched a couple strong innings. Shutout ball.
Yeah, yep. Unfortunately, though, if you look at Friday
and then Sunday.
And Sunday, too, because you're right. I mean, 9 runs, you should win a game. You should. Okay, but then you were giving up quite a bit early on in that game as well. Brad Rudis Zane is reminding us. Brad Rudis. Appreciate that info right there. All right, let's do this. Let's come back, and I want to talk some hoops with you with the NIT. We're going to be heading out here in a few hours to New York City. I'm looking forward to. Oh, you know what? I should do this. Can I do one more?
Yes.
Who brought the heat? I told myself I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it. There's this young lady in town who's just bringing the heat. Her name is Annalise Nuño.
Oh, yeah?
4 goals this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, a little proud of her. Yeah.
In 1 week.
So I gave the Twins love the other day. Yes, 2 games, 4 goals.
It's something it must be nice to be so proud of your offspring.
I am very proud of them, yeah.
I'm so disappointed.
Go ahead and say it.
We went to Baton Rouge, and my son decided he would accept a scholarship, an academic scholarship to LSU. It doesn't pay for everything, it pays for a lot. So I failed as a parent. My son's going to go to LSU. I tried my wife even offered to buy him a new car. And I'm thinking, how are you going to afford that? But she said, we'll buy you a new car.
If
you'll stay, go to A&M. And he says, I just really want to go to LSU. And I thought, I failed. So
I get it. When you grow up in this community,
he probably wants to get away from me. And a lot of people could probably understand that.
And look, I told you during the break, it is, I think, a blessing that you can be there in 5 hours.
I'm joking.
Yeah, of course, we all want our kids to go to A&M. And I'll feel the same way in a few years if my kids choose a different school. But at the end of the day, you're going to be closed, and it's a good institution. Just hope they lose every game they ever play in every sport, every single sport.
That's okay.
Every single sport. All right, right now I want to talk about Heritage Film. So last night I got the director's cut, or the almost finished edited cut of My Father's Story. Heritage Films does documentary films about your parents, and I've told you, I've seen clips of it, but I hadn't seen. So, Obia, you're going to be surprised by this. How long do you think the movie was? A documentary about my pops.
A couple hours?
Yeah, it was. I was actually surprised it was 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It was a 2-hour movie, and it was like I got emotional a couple times watching it. Like when my dad talked about my mom meeting her, when he talked about the kids, my kids, his grandkids, and his own kids. But just in learning stuff about my family that I knew I was going to learn some stuff, but like seeing the high school that he went to, seeing the house that he grew up in. I'd seen pictures throughout my life, but to see it all in this 2-hour film, it was very emotional. My dad's still with us. He's 91 years old, man.
Where'd your dad go to high school?
La Salle in Cuba.
So this guy somehow finds the...
So Chance, not only does he get pictures from my parents, he also uses the internet and finds... So when my dad references a historical event that he was a part of, or for example, there's a part in the documentary where he talks about January 1st, 1950, whatever it was. I'm sorry, I don't remember the date, when Batista was left the country and Castro took over, basically. Some pictures from that day, the streets, all that. Chance finds it all, and he puts it in there.
How amazing.
Along with the great. So I'm just telling you guys, I've been underselling how great it is, and now that I've got to see it and I've gotten to go through the video and I've made some remarks like, hey, yeah, I think the spelling of this name actually has an accent here, that kind of, I'm all a part of the process. To me, that is amazing, and I highly recommend it, and I think you'll be blown away, and I think you'll probably get emotional watching it if it's about yourself or your kids. YourHeritageFilm.com, 713-893-8341.
Who cares if he's wearing a medium and tight pants? 3, 2, 1, go. It's TexAgs Radio with David Nuño on The Zone.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Fajita Pete's, Front Street Burgers, Scoots, and Horseshoe Junction Family Fun Park. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
Hippity hop to the George Bush Presidential Library and Museum on Saturday, April 9th, the annual Easter celebration. The event will begin at 9:30 a.m. and include an Easter egg hunt, egg roll, egg toss, carnival games, face painting, kite flying, door prizes, balloon animals, complimentary refreshments, and photos with the Easter Bunny. The free event will be available for children age 7 and under. For more information, visit bush41.org.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the UIL, are the 825,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Texas. And so we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand for the drummers, football players, and actors. We stand for the golfers, singers, and swimmers. We stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible, because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
From the Combine.
The central storyline of this Combine and the sea of storylines about to unfold.
To free agency.
Jarvis Landry, he's at a point in his career where he should look to team up.
To the NFL Draft.
We focus in on the quarterbacks. The draft is generally defined by those guys.
The NFL season never ends.
Listen in to ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio, 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Hi, friends. We're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody watching and listening in on the Zone or on YouTube or on the CW8. Appreciate all that good stuff. Olin, let's get into it. This layoff, if you will. This team is used to playing every other night, and I know during the streak, some of the conversations were they're going to have tired legs, and maybe that showed up in the Tennessee game. Maybe not. Maybe just Tennessee was playing at a higher level that day and tired legs, but regardless. But now you've had a longer layoff, and this is for both teams, by the way, not just Texas A&M, but we're speaking from an A&M perspective. Do you think that has any effect on how they play? Combine that with Madison Square Garden.
I don't think the layoff will affect how they play. I mean, I think if they go out and play poorly, it would be a lame excuse to say, well, we didn't play for a week. So, and if they play well, I don't think that's necessarily the reason why you say, we finally got some rest. I mean, I just think that they are playing really at a high level, but there are some inconsistencies. And we saw the inconsistencies in the win over Wake. They didn't shoot from the 3-point line very well, especially in the first half. They had a bad day at the free throw line. Now, when they've been surging lately, they've been shooting well at the 3-point line, and they've been shooting well at the free throw line. So is a layoff going to make a difference there? What I think the layoff is good for is they're going to have fresh legs, and where they're really beating their opponents is on the defensive end.
Defensive side. And that, regardless, travels. When your shot goes away, tired legs, or you just have a bad day shooting at the office, defense carries. And this team's ability to get to every ball on the floor is the difference.
You know what I was so impressed with against Wake Forest? They were swarming on defense, and Wake Forest, they got some open threes, but for the most part, it seemed like there was somebody on defense in good defensive position when like 90% of the time, and I don't know what the actual percentages are, but it seemed like 90% of the time when Wake wanted to shoot a three-pointer, there was somebody in good defensive position.
Yep.
Well, they're going to need to be in good defensive position at the three-point line against Washington State because that's what they do.
That's what they do. Now, I will tell you why I think the layoff could be a good thing.
Okay.
And it's a good thing for Buzz and company, the staff, because I think he is an elite strategist, an elite coach when it comes to the X's and O's part of basketball and making adjustments during a season. And I think during the tournament setting, you kind of have to just go, yes, there is, you have advanced scouting and whatnot, but like to be able to implement a game plan is very difficult in a 24-hour period or a couple-day period. He's had 6 days to put in this plan, and so does the Washington State coach does. But it is very difficult to prepare for an assault defense that they bring. Like, you can't mimic that in practice, right? Just like you can't mimic Johnny Manziel at quarterback when you're trying to prepare for him the week of a game. And that's why I think Buzz is going to have his game plan to stop that three-point shooter. His name escapes me at the moment, the guy who just broke Klay Thompson's Flowers. Broke his Klay Thompson's record of threes at the school. They're going to have a game plan in place. And, again, that defense is going to travel, and you can't really prepare for that until you live it.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I think if A&M is playing on the defensive end the way they have, they've in the NIT, they've allowed an average of 58 points. Now you say, well, that's kind of skewed by playing Alcorn. Alcorn scored the most points of any opponent in the NIT. Tennessee only had 65. So in their last 6 games, I think the most points they've allowed is 65. They are playing some top-level defense.
They are playing top-level defense.
And I think they'll continue to do that. Now, if they do that and then shoot better than they did against Wake Forest, especially in the first half, when that game could have been over at halftime if they were shooting well.
What did they shoot free throw wise? Well, I forget the number. It was
58%, something like that. I could be wrong.
Which I know they've had moments this year, and a couple big
16
moments.
16 for 16 in one game.
No, I was going to say I know they've had their dry spots as well this year, and they weren't. But it just tells me if they just shoot 65% from the free throw line, which is something they've done several times, right, and above, as you mentioned, 16 for 16. That Wake Forest game, even though I felt it was over early, was completely over. Like, if they just shoot a little well in that game, that defense was that good that they're up by 30.
Yeah, they were 1 of 13 or 1 of 14 from the three-point line in that game in the first half. Now, Wake Forest was 1 of 14. Excuse me. But the difference, at least it appeared to me, was A&M was getting open looks and missing. Like I said, Wake Forest, they might have had a couple, but it seemed like every time they were shooting, they had somebody coming at you or somebody's, you're trying to shoot over somebody. So because the A&M's defense was playing that well.
Yeah, they're playing that well. So who do you think? I think we know Quentin Jackson is going to bring it, right? He usually does. You're going to get 15 to 19 points from Q. I think Boot Radford's going to give you a 12-8 kind of performance.
He's so good. He's so consistently good.
And 12-8 may not sound flashy. That's fantastic numbers.
Yeah. I think the guy that, may just have a huge game is Henry Coleman because finally it looks like he's going to go against an opposition that he's not looking up at 7-footers.
Yeah. Yep.
They look like they're about the same size as A&M. Henry's been productive when he's 5 inches shorter than the guy he's going against.
He has been productive.
If it's kind of even, what's he going to do?
And if A&M can drive to the basket, and he's just going to benefit from those little, passes, little dimes, little short passes, boom, and throw it out. Because early on, he would miss some of those.
Now I can see Manny Obaseki or Quentin getting blocks or steals. I'm talking at the 3-point line. You get over there and you're actually deflect it and turn it into a run out. And I could see that happening because we've seen a lot of that lately.
I think we're going to see Hassan Diarra and Manny Obaski get some long rebounds because they shoot so many threes. It's going to allow for transition if they can get to the ball.
I hope that the guy that's the star in an A&M win is Hassan Diarra.
Especially in New York City.
Yeah, New York City going home, New York City kid going home. I hope, always talked about he's been to Madison Square Garden, but never got to play there. I would hope that he has a star-studded game.
I just don't want another last-second three-point shot to win. I'll gladly take it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I can take any more of those. How about we just take care of business early?
Oh, that's true. Which now the good thing about that one against Florida that he won was even if he missed, they're going to overtime. But that was the second one, and then he had another game where he had some real clutch free throws. I think it might have been Missouri.
Was it which game was it that we were flying and he hit the game-winning three?
Well, that was Abilene Christian.
Abilene Christian.
So he's won 2 games at least that I can think of with late last-second shots, both in overtime. I think both in overtime.
Both in overtime, right?
And then the Florida game.
No, the Florida game was.
Maybe I was thinking that was on the way to overtime. Okay. So the Florida game he wins, the Abilene Christian game he wins with a late shot, and then I want to say
it was the Missouri game.
It was Missouri. He had 2 really big free throws that were key late in the game.
Here's something to consider. How nice would it be for A&M to win the NIT when it might be the last time the NIT is ever played at Madison Square Garden? They're supposed to move on. Well, at least for the next couple of years, they're looking at options, and they have open invites or open whatever you call it. Vegas is being mentioned. Indy's being mentioned. So this is going to be the last one for at least 2 years. And a lot of, if you read some of these articles, most people think it's not returning to Madison Square Garden.
Well,
how about win it at MSG the last time they play it?
Close down the NIT and MSG for AMC. And then
I like that.
But I would think if I was in charge of the NIT, I would not. I can understand moving it, but I would not move it to Indianapolis.
No,
I'd move it to places where people want to go: Las Vegas, New Orleans, Miami.
Yeah, I would too. But how would it be attended? Like, I think an NIT game in New York, it's just part of the fabric of that city, right? Like, people, I think it's not just the fans of the programs. I think people in New York like to go to that.
Yeah, but why do we think it's special that A&M's in the Final Four?
Because it's NYC.
Right. Are you going to feel the same way about Indianapolis?
No.
But if you're going to Vegas, well, everybody wants to go to Vegas. You just need an excuse.
So Vegas, Miami, New York,
Orleans.
L.A., New Orleans.
Not L.A. L.A. sucks. L.A. is just a
San Diego.
trashy.
Can we do San Diego?
I love San Diego.
Yeah, I like me some San Diego.
Yeah.
When A&M there was a chance that they'd make the tournament, and that was one of the host sites. I'm like, outside of Dallas, that's where I want to go.
Yeah. I don't like California, but I will acknowledge San Diego's pretty special.
Hey, I know I'll ask you at the break. Is there any special New York rules for COVID that I need to be aware of?
I don't know, because it seems like they've been relaxing a lot of the things, but be sure to take a mask anyway. I think they're going to make you wear one on the plane.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get into one final segment here with OB before we get ready for the 9 o'clock hour with Schloss and Bronny and Tom Hart during the 9 o'clock. And then Mike Luca's going to join us from his new gig in Cleveland. So we got all that and more here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. Unbound BCS is hosting its annual Night of Hope banquet on Thursday at the Weinberg from 6:30 to 9:30. Topics will cover the anti-human trafficking work of Unbound BCS around the Brazos Valley. For tickets, go online to unboundbcs.org. Friends of Chamber Music and Concerts on Carter Creek presents stellar Paris-based Arid String Quartet on Friday, April 1st at 7 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church in Bryan. The concert is free and open to the public. Connecting Point Church invites you and your family to Egg the City on Saturday, April 9th from noon to 2 at Wolfpen Creek Park. For more information, visit eggthecitybcs.com. That's your community calendar brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
We're here with Jason Rollo of Rollo Insurance. Jason, when we say the difference is real, what does that mean?
Let's take the term real, R-E-A-L. Rates, education, assets, and life. And here's what I mean. People think insurance is about rates, and although those are important, it's really about education of the product you're buying so we can protect the assets of people, and we want to do that for life. Insurance is about taking care of people, and that's what we mean when we say the difference is real.
For more information, go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs.
Start your sports day with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Or just tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150. WC Tractor is your local award-winning Kubota and New Holland dealer. Call them with your questions at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Or check them out online at WCTractor.com. Rise and shine. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max from ESPN Radio. Powered by WC Tractor. Here on The Zone.
As sure as Texas weather will change, storm chasers will roll into town when the Brazos Valley experiences a hail or severe storm, bringing out-of-town crews with them. Don't get hit twice. Aggieland Roofing is a local, licensed, and insured company, one that will be here to handle any warranty issues, one that is part of your community. We live here, and we are here to stay. Aggieland Roofing is a member of the BCS Chamber of Commerce and the official roofer of Texas A&M Athletics. Remember, shop local, shop licensed. Call me, the Roofer Girl.
You can listen to Aggie football, basketball, and baseball on your Amazon Dot or Echo. Step 1, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Step 2, anytime you want to hear fighting Texas Aggie football, Texas A&M women's basketball, or Aggie baseball, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. It's that simple to listen to your favorite A&M teams that play on the Zone with your Amazon Dot or Echo. Make sure to say one time, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then say, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
All right, we're back. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, getting ready for NYC. So here's the plan, OB. We're going to do, we'll finish the show. You got a column you're working on, or you're ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll. Wrote it the advance yesterday.
Okay, so we'll do the show. We'll get on the road, out of town. Got to drive a little distance, and then we're gonna not arrive in NYC. I think until like 10 p.m. tonight, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That sounds about right. So we'll get there. We'll do the show there from the hotel tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Wish Lucci was going.
I mean, you never know. He might show up.
I hope he does.
He might show up. I think New York with Lucci would be fun, from what you've told me.
Well, plus, I'm from White Oak, Texas, right? And I've lived in Austin and Nashville. But I get kind of intimidated by not knowing where I am and feeling closed in there.
Yeah.
So it was great having Lucci knew how to get everywhere without a problem, right?
Didn't you say he got recognized right away?
Yes, I was. It was my first year working with TexAgs. We were down for the Johnny Manziel thing, and we're walking in Times Square, and there's people everywhere, and I hear someone say, "Hey, Billy Lucci," and I'm thinking, "Who the heck is this guy?" That I'm wearing. It's one thing if I'm walking on Northgate and someone says, "Hey, Billy Lucci," or even Houston, but when you're walking in New York City and someone's saying, "Hey, there's Billy Lucci," I'm thinking, what is going on here? Who is this celebrity?
He is a celebrity. He recommended that we go get real pizza while we're there, not just like street pizza, like go to a real pizza place in New York.
Okay. If Lucci says so, that's what we should do.
We'll get some legit pizza. Yeah.
He took us to Little Italy, which I wouldn't have known how to get there, but he knew what subway to take and where to go. And it was pretty amazing experience.
Yeah, I bet it was. All right, so let's finish up with some basketball thoughts here before we let you go. We talked about some long rebounds. We talked about their ability to defend, but they're going to have to score. I think at this point, at this juncture, you are playing with fire if you don't score enough. And I know that they did. They scored plenty in the Oregon game. And you know what? They scored enough, obviously, in the Wake Forest game, but their shooting percentage was down. But you're not always going to get all the turnovers and all the shots to go your favor and the other team to miss some shots. So they are going to have to score.
Yeah, and another thing that Washington State apparently does real well is offensive rebounding, but A&M's been a lot better with that.
Yeah.
Lately. So I think that I'm just going to look for A&M to play the way they have been, but hopefully shoot a little better. And I think if they can shoot from the 3-point line like they did in Tampa, except for the first 3 games in Tampa, then we might as well go ahead and book an extra night because we're going to be staying until Friday.
Yeah.
If they shoot like they did in Tampa, because you're not beating those guys if they're able to hit from the 3-point line like they were then.
And when you mention that, it kind of brings me back to how this team plays in a neutral site, really how they play anywhere. Let's go ahead and be honest. This team, other than the 8-game losing streak, anywhere they play very competitive basketball, even in that 8-game losing streak. But you played in the Vegas, the Maui Vegas, or however you want to call it. You played in Tampa, and you've played well in neutral site games.
They have, and hopefully they'll continue. But by the way, this is something I just thought of. I heard a rumor this week.
Okay.
And I want to know if you believe this rumor. So I heard a rumor, and I even thought about calling Ross Bjork and asking him nothing, and I'm not going to bother him with a rumor.
Okay.
That A&M, the reason, or at least a big reason, A&M decided to let all the fans in free for these 3 NIT games was because then if they make no money, they don't have to share money or give money to the NCAA after they got hosed by not getting into the NCAA tournament. Now, number one, I don't know if it's true. Do you think that could be put true?
I don't think it's true, but I love that conspiracy theory.
I would love if it's true. Don't you love that?
I do.
In fact, if that's true, I would think that makes Ross Bjork. I like him even more if that's true. If they said, "Here, I tell you what we should do. You know, we got holes like that here. Let's just let everybody in free, and then we don't have to give
anything
the gentleman any money." I love that if that's true.
I love it. It's like slapping him on the stage of the Oscars, except not illegal. By the way, as we close this hour, I do want to say I missed you on Friday, but what a show we had Friday, man.
Was it?
Oh, yeah. Joni Taylor was awesome.
Oh.
She was like, you were at the press conference. Very just awesome to talk to, very engaging. And then we had Mark Henry and Billy Lucci becoming best
Mark
friends
Henry,
here in studio. Yeah.
Sexual Chocolate.
Was that his name before?
That was his wrestling name.
Huh.
From, you know where that comes from?
From Coming to America.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So that was his wrestling.
That was before he took on the persona of himself, right?
Yeah. He was Mark Henry. They always got to come up with some kind of funny name or something.
Yeah, the world's strongest man, OB. Thank you very much, sir.
From Silsbee, Texas.
Silsbee, right down the road. Brother was an Aggie.
His brother played here, yeah.
Was an Aggie. Is an Aggie. What am I saying? Sorry.
What's an Aggie?
Former Aggie football player is what I meant to say, Patrick. All right. When we come back here on the show, Jim Schlossnagle going to be joining us. Bronny going to help me out with that interview. We'll have Tom Hart on here as well. And then in the 10 o'clock hour, we'll do a lot of basketball talk for you. Mike Lucas is going to be joining us here. We'll be talking all things A&M hoops, NIT related. We'll have that and much, much more. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Think is the best. Nominations are now open for the 22nd year of the Best of the Brazos Valley. Go to bestofthebrazosvalley.com and submit your nominations for the best in dining, entertainment, service, retail, automotive, health and wellness, and everything in between. If you think it's the best, make sure it's on the Best of the Brazos ballot. After 22 years and hundreds of thousands of votes, this is the one that counts. Nominate now at bestofthebrazos.com.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Like us on Facebook at Zone 1150. Follow us on Twitter at Zone 1150. Get connected now. With Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is KZNE College Station, Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. A Brazos County grand jury has indicted a College Station man on a murder charge in last July's shooting death of a College Station woman. 20-year-old Terod London has been in jail since the day after the death of 18-year-old Rashina Tompkins on charges of moving her body and pouring liquid soap on blood outside his apartment. Bond on the murder and related charges totals $700,000. Human remains were found Saturday that may be those of a Leon County man who was reported missing last July. According to a post on the Leon County Sheriff's Office Facebook page, additional forensic testing must still be completed to determine the identity, but the Facebook post referred to the search of Matthew Halley, who was last seen last June in Normandy. 2 Houston area men remain in the Brazos County Jail following their arrest Friday morning on charges of stealing 2 catalytic converters from vehicles parked at a College Station apartment complex. An apartment resident who reported seeing the men wearing masks and hoodies was one of the victims. The other victim's vehicle was next to the suspect's car. The 17 and 19-year-olds are held in lieu of bonds totaling $35,000 apiece. Annual reviews of police department traffic stop racial profiling reports took place during March meetings of the College Station and Bryan City Councils. Last year, BPD received 1 racial profiling complaint, which the chief determined to be unfounded. CSPD had no complaints last year. That's out of a combined total of more than 28,000 traffic stops in the Twin Cities. A Texas A&M public health professor weighs in on the heads of American and Southwest Airlines sending letters to the president to lift the airline mask mandate. Dr. Gerald Parker says that when you're aboard a jet, the filtered air gets circulated quickly.
Generally, you're going to only have exposures with a few seats in front or back of you.
Parker says the greater risk of transmission is inside the airports themselves because that's where you have people from all over standing in close lines. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hippity hop to the George Bush Presidential Library and Museum on Saturday, April 9th for the annual Easter celebration. The event will begin at 9:30 a.m. and include an Easter egg hunt, egg roll, egg toss, carnival games, face painting, kite flying, door prizes, balloon animals, complimentary refreshments, and photos with the Easter Bunny. The free event will be available for children age 7 and under. For more information, visit bush41.org.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Well, nothing doing for Texas A&M baseball yesterday as it dropped the rubber game of its series to Auburn 13-9 at Bluebell. Now, the Aggies actually held the lead heading into the 7th inning, but the bullpen couldn't hold on. Here's Coach Jim Schlossnagle.
Tried to give some guys some other opportunities. We're going to have to continue to do that because we can't keep going back to the same guys and somebody else is going to get hurt. But, I mean, we scored eight runs on a Sunday. We have a couple fresh arms in the bullpen. You'd like to think we could keep them down, but disappointing as disappointing can be.
It was a highly contested series all the way around, with the first 2 games going into extras. With the loss, the Myrna White fall to 14-9 overall and 3-3 in SEC play. Now, a much different result for softball yesterday as the Aggies run-ruled number 17 Georgia 16-8. Mackenzie Herzog smacked a 2-run homer and joined Rylan Wiggins in crossing the plate 3 times as A&M salvaged the series finale. With the victory, the ladies improved to 19-12 on the year. Both men's and women's tennis had big Sundays. The 25th-ranked Aggie guys upset number 8 Georgia, while the 12th-ranked ladies swept past the number 7 Lady Bulldogs. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Zone Madness, presented by Aggieland Green, has a third chance bracket. Play now at zone1150.com. It's a brand new contest. Pick the Final Four and National Championship. 3 games only. Play now at zone1150.com. Get the healthy lawn you deserve, guaranteed. Call the pros at Aggieland Green because it's more than just lawn. Zone Madness, presented by Aggieland Green, is also brought to you in part by Wings & More, Dixie Tire, Gold Star Barber Studio, Baker Fried, and Superior Auto Service.
All right, we're at TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Bronny's in studio with me. Let's go straight to the BCSI hotline, where we are joined by Jim Schlossnagle, A&M's baseball coach. A tough weekend. They lose 2 of 3. Some runs scored yesterday. Overall, Jim, I know it was a tough weekend, but you guys have been giving people opportunities. Are you finding anything from that you can build on?
Not much. I think we've. I'm assuming you're talking about pitchers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Raleigh Hector did a nice job yesterday. Walker Zander did a nice job, excuse me, of throwing strikes. Will Johnston has flashed, at times, the ability to execute pitches. He did a nice job on Saturday in the game, which we won. But I mean, I guess those guys, we're gonna have to go to them more. And Micah Dallas obviously was once again a great highlight of the weekend. Gave us innings, gave us depth. But given our situation, we have to get more out of our starting pitching. And Nathan Detmer knows that. Prager knows that. Feel really good about our offense, especially in the SEC. We've been scoring runs. We've been playing, I think, at a decent level there. We've caught the baseball for the most part, but as was my fear going into the season, just the depth of pitching, and then now you throw in a couple injuries. That's where we are. But we've played 6 conference games. 5 of them have been decided by by a run or so in the last inning, and we've won 3 of those 5 games. So I think kids are competing. I mean, I don't doubt that. It's just a matter of whether we're good enough and throw enough strikes out of the bullpen to keep us in the ballgame.
Coach, do you feel like what was the bigger storyline for you on the weekend? Was it the lack of the lack of length that you got out of Prager, or was it going all the way back to Friday night and those 9th and 10th innings?
Well, great question. I guess it would have to be the 9th and 10th innings. If we execute there, then we win 2 of the 3 games. I think he's a very good pitcher. He's going to be a great pitcher in this conference and a great pitcher for Texas A&M, and he's going through some things right now. We've spotted him leads now in 2 consecutive Sundays, and believe me, nobody feels worse about it than he does. And so, but we're fully supportive of him. But I felt like, Cortez he threw strikes. He did a nice job of throwing strikes in that last inning. But you got to give Auburn credit; they stayed on the baseball, and Chris going to have to. His breaking ball and his off-speed pitches are a work in progress. But when it doesn't matter how hard you throw, when you're behind the count or you get to eliminate pitches, then all of a sudden the hitter becomes a lot better. So ball got smoked right by Jack. Somehow that hops in his mitt. We're all feeling different about the weekend. That's how close these weekends are.
Yeah, the margins are so fine in the conference. So whenever you address your team after losing 2 out of 3, where, look, man, you go back and you look at the LSU weekend, you could have lost 2 out of 3 just as easily as you won it. You could flip the results in this series just as easy as you lost it. So how do you go about managing this club, especially the pitching staff that, look, it's going to be fragile, and there's going to be times where they're going to get beat up. The grind of this conference season, what is the conversations like after the weekend where the margins are so fine?
Well, I mean, yesterday's was more of a challenge than it was trying to make you feel better about things, because the one thing you should be able to do as a competitive Division I pitcher is throw strikes and give your team a chance. And when you give up free bases, when you come in and pitch behind the count, when you come in and just don't even give us a chance by scattering baseballs all over the place or throwing them off the backstop. I have no drill for that. I mean, that's there's there's just no excuse for it. So you got to stand for something or you fall for anything, right? I mean, that's what the old country song is. And I mean, our pitching staff, that was the conversation yesterday. What can you hang your hat on? And it should be, I'm a competitive strike thrower. I think Brad Rudis is a competitive strike thrower. Raleigh Hector, I mean, neither of those guys throw very hard, but they're competitive strike throwers with multiple pitches. And at least, Raleigh made one bad pitch and gave a 2-run homer. Other than that, he gave us a chance to compete in the game. And so whether you throw 88 or whether you throw 94, you got to be able to hang your hat on something. And there are a few guys down there that don't. And that was the conversation. Now, I mean, ultimately, this is on me. It's on me and our coaching staff. So I definitely don't believe in throwing players under the bus. But if you're asking me what the conversation was like, that's the conversation. It's challenging them that what do you stand for? What do you hang your hat on? And so we'll find out. We'll see. No better opportunity than going to Dish Falk and playing University of Texas to go show what you're made of.
Give a start to Channing Scamardo, his first of his career. How do you think he handled that, and will we see more of him going forward?
I think you're going to see more of him going forward. He's a player that did really well in the fall. We're trying to figure out what we have there. And I thought once he got settled in, I thought he did okay. He had some good at bats, got his first hit, hit a few balls hard. He just needs to kind of get the butterflies out of his system and go be the good player that we saw all fall long.
Jim, scoring the runs that you did this weekend, you have to like the upward trajectory of your offense, the way it's been trending.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've put together good at bats. I think, there's enough power in there. There's still too many strikeouts. But especially if we can get Werner, I don't know, he's probably, I'd say he's real questionable even for this upcoming weekend, maybe 2 weeks from now. He can get out there defensively. He's more than ready to go. But yeah, I mean, we're competitive almost every inning. I think Logan Britt, still has some punch outs, but I think he's gotten an extra base hit in almost every game over that he's played since we made some adjustments with him at home plate. Targash obviously showed what he's capable of doing. But it can't be all or nothing with, homer or strikeout. You got to be able to compete through an at bat. And, but for the most part, we're getting that up and down the lineup. So that side of the ball is, at least right now, not an issue.
Coach Schloss, Jack Moss, for the first time all year, really kind of struggled in the batter's box, and that's not something that I anticipate continuing. But I go back to he got hit kind of on his right elbow on Friday night. Do you think that had anything to do with his plate appearances throughout the weekend?
Well, he got hit on his hand. And so, and Troy, Claunch dove into the fence, playing first base at LSU, and he says it's not bothering him, but I think these guys, they're a little banged up, but that's part of it. Jack also got pitched to really well. He also hit some ball, he had a big double. He hit a few balls hard, but they executed some really good pitches against him. And I think for Jack, maybe he just came back to earth a little bit after, I think at LSU, having literally almost every at bat, he was on the barrel. So we're just going to credit baseball and Auburn's pitching staff a little bit for this past weekend for him.
Jim, taking over a new program obviously is very difficult on its own, but navigating through the injuries you've had to go through, how difficult has that been for you guys? I think I read last night Trey Dillard, another Tommy John surgery. Is that correct?
Yeah, Dillard. Yeah, he's out for the year. He's in Houston as we speak, meeting with the doctor. Curtis, we'll get some information back on him today, and Robert Hogan as well. So yeah, I mean, injuries are, especially in pitching, that's going to be part of every season. And I'd like to think we're not finished with them, but that's my biggest quandary is I can't overthrow the guys that are pitching well, because if they go down, a guy like Palish or Cortez, I think Menifee, even though he's not pitching, nearly as consistently as I think he can, still pitching the guy in almost every other game, and I can't have him go down either. So, but you have to be good enough and you have to be deep enough to survive those things, and that's our job from a recruiting standpoint in the years to come. I mean, at Texas A&M, you should be rolling out pitchers. If nobody likes to have 2 or 3 or 4 injuries, and that's going to expose a lot of people, especially if it's your best guys. But we should have enough pitching at Texas A&M to remain competitive. And I just walked out of Nolan Kane's office, our recruiting coordinator, and he's every day we're not playing, he's on the road and either checking up on the guys we've signed or going out and looking for new ones. So, and there's some kids on this team I think that'll get better over time. But yeah, the injuries on an already thin pitching staff, the injuries make it pretty tough.
Well, that's a really good segue because I did want to ask you about how the message is being received as you guys play games on the recruiting trail. I know you can't get into specifics about certain kids, but you have made some additions to your future classes, recently. So, how have you been able to kind of explain what's going on in the field while continuing to, like you say, look through the telescope at what's coming?
Yeah, I think kids and families see they don't necessarily, at least most of them don't look at where we are now. They look at where we want to be and where we're going to be, and they also look at the Texas A&M it's a top flight university, it's a top flight degree, and it's in an elite conference. Kids want to go to school here, and so I think the message has been great. The message has been received really well. I think that the one thing about taking a job these days is when you take a job, you're just not one recruiting class behind. You're sometimes 2 and 3. So the 2022 class, we're fired up about. I think the 23 and 24 classes and beyond are the ones that we're having the most impact on. So right now, we're evaluating those 22s that either were signed by the previous coaching staff or signed by us or committed, and then looking at junior college and I'm sure depending on how the draft plays out, we'll have to get in that transfer market a little bit this summer, depending on how things finish up this year and with the major league draft. Not nearly as much as this past year, but if there's a guy or two out there that we think can step in and help us, like a Micah Dallas has or Palish has, then we'll certainly be in that market.
Jim, let's close up with Texas tomorrow. Any thoughts on who can go for you?
First 9 guys on the bus get to pitch. We're gonna have to try to piece it together. I haven't seen Coach Yeski yet this morning. We'll decide who goes out there to start the game for us, but we're gonna have to piece it together. You get to find out about some guys. You get to find out how bad they want to pitch and what they're able to handle. But we can't do anything to risk, the weekend in conference play. We're still sitting at 3,500 in conference play, a couple pitches away from being better than that. And I still feel really good about the first 4 or 5 guys that on our pitching staff. So we have to keep them healthy and win the ball games we can win. So we'll keep grinding and try to make everybody proud.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate your time. Talk to you soon.
All right. You guys have a great day. Gig 'em.
There he is, Jim Schlossnagle on the BCSI hotline. Appreciate his time here. A lot to unpack from there. We'll do that with Bronny on the other side of the break. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the zone, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. Get pre-approved today with a 5-minute loan approval. NMLS 1309378, Equal Housing Opportunity. A short ceremony will be held on Tuesday at 1 p.m. in front of the downtown Bryan Library Vietnam Monument. All are welcome. The Bryan Noon Lions Club is hosting the 48th annual John and Bess Slovacek Memorial Sausage Supper fundraiser on Tuesday from 5 to 7 p.m. in the Bryan High School Circle Drive. Purchase your tickets ahead of time. Find a link at WTAW.com. You're invited to the Aggieland Delta Waterfowl Chapter Banquet on Thursday at the Brazos County Expo Center. Tickets must be purchased in advance at deltawaterfowl.org/events. There is a free class offered to seniors on healthy aging the first Wednesday of every month. Contact the Mature Well Lifestyle Club for more information. That's your community calendar, brought to you by Christine Engler at AggieLoanExpert.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
As sure as Texas weather will change, storm chasers will roll into town when the Brazos Valley experiences a hail or severe storm, bringing out-of-town crews with them. Don't get hit twice. Aggie Roofing is a local, licensed, and insured company, one that will be here to handle any warranty issues, one that is part of your community. We live here, and we are here to stay. Aggie Roofing is a member of the BCS Chamber of Commerce and the official roofer of Texas A&M Athletics. Remember, shop local, shop licensed. Call me, the Roofer Girl.
Question: would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Dirty exterior? Don't scrub it. Wet it and forget it. Wet and Forget, the easy outdoor cleaner. Wet and Forget works over time with Mother Nature to eliminate unsightly black and green stains on the exterior of your home with no scrubbing, power washing, or bleach. Use Wet and Forget on all your outdoor surfaces, including decks, siding, roofs, and patios. Wet and Forget's available in a concentrate or extreme reach hose-in. Purchase Wet and Forget in store or online at Lowe's, Menards, Ace, or Walmart.
It's Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Joe is up next in Texas.
The Jimbo nonsense at LSU, you had guests on who said, oh, yeah, he's going to go to LSU. He doesn't want to live under UT's thumb anymore. Well, screw UT.
I love
They're living under our thumb now.
It's the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
It's always the case, but a play or two can make such a difference in the way you receive a weekend, be it whatever sport, but we're talking baseball here, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Bronny, you were mentioning to me, and Schloss talked about it, just 1 or 2 plays go different. We're talking about a 2 out of 3 again, a weekend for the Aggie baseball team.
Yeah, that was kind of my question to him, was that the margins are so fine in this conference, right? Like, you go back to the LSU weekend, and there's a play or two there that could flip that result in LSU's favor.
Mm-hmm.
But what did LSU do this weekend? They went on the road and they took 2 out of 3 at Florida. You know, so, and that was after a Friday night game that LSU lost and looked really uncompetitive. So LSU's back to 500. You know, the Auburn series, the 9th inning on Friday night with 2 guys on, I think the exit velo on the ball that was hit to Jack Moss was over 100 miles an hour. I don't know the exact number. I feel very comfortable saying it was over 100 miles an hour. That's an absolute rocket. And let me tell you something about you being on a corner infield position, so at third or first, when an opposite side hitter hits a ball at you, so if you're a first baseman or right-handed hitter, if you're a third baseman, left-handed hitter, when they hit a ball at you very hard, you don't see it. It's very tough to see because the ball gets real late in the hitting zone, right? So where the contact point is made, there's a body behind it. Sometimes it looks like the catcher's behind it. You're just seeing it a little bit deeper, right? It's one of the tougher reads in the infield, maybe the toughest read in the infield. And the kid hit a rocket right at Jack Moss, and it goes over his glove, right? If that ball goes in his glove, he jogs to first, he touches the bag, A&M wins on Friday night. They win the series. That's how close, that's how fine the margins are. And if that happens, we're sitting here on Monday morning talking about A&M's won their first 2 conference series. They're 4-2 with all these injuries. What a fantastic coaching job. The whole vibe on the message board is different. But that's what it is in this conference, man. It's like every weekend is going to come down to something like that. And that's why teams that are host regionals a lot out of the SEC, their conference play record is 500. I mean, it's just an absolute bear of a schedule. each and every game out, something small will turn into something big in terms of like down the road. And I love what Coach Schlossnagle uses, the microscope and telescope, and you can use that about his vision of trying to win now while also looking at the future of the program. But you can also look at it as this one individual play looking through a microscope can have a big telescopic impact on the rest of our season. So, what are we looking at? It's a 3-3 team. There's still a lot to play for. I still think there's, the story still to be written for this team. The pitching is what it is, man. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on the A&M offense, especially, tomorrow night going to Texas where they've got an incredibly deep pitching staff. And, Texas is one of the more talented teams in the country. But David Pierce, I think, is in his 5th year, and he's had a chance to recruit there. And his first 3 years didn't go great. They were getting ready to run him out of Austin. Then he makes a run at Omaha, and now he's kind of built the program into what we're used to seeing out of Texas. So it'll get there, man. This is the right guy for the job. I said this during football season. I remember coming in on the show, and we were recruiting country the weekend or the week after Alabama.
Okay.
And I said, the season wasn't good, but the program's in a good spot, right?
Right.
Same thing over there across at baseball. The season may not go as well as you want it to, but the program's in a good spot. It'll get there. It's the right guy for the job. This is the right assistants for the job. He spoke about the depth, and it's just going to take some time to get the guys in that they need.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. So I'll ask you what you asked Schloss. What do you think the biggest storyline was this weekend?
I thought it was the 9th and 10th innings on Friday night. I agreed with him. Prager not giving you any length certainly hurt. Like when you had to pull him in the 3rd inning of a Sunday game against a really offensive Auburn team, knowing what your bullpen had, and even though their bullpen wasn't great, it was going to be a slugfest, and they were on the right side of it. And credit to Auburn and their hitters, and they just kept coming and coming, and they made A&M pay on some really bad pitches. But the Friday night game, that 9th and 10th inning those were bad innings. Those were bad innings for A&M. They didn't do anything well. They failed to execute. They failed to execute pitches. Chris Cortez got hit extremely hard, like even all the outs. You think about how A&M got out of the inning was because of that illegal bat.
Right.
That ball was hit really hard. It bounced off of Cortez, and Trevor Werner made a fantastic play to keep the ball in the infield, because if that ball trickles into the outfield, they're going to score another run and go ahead. Now, it really wouldn't have mattered because it was an illegal bat, but like Chris Cortez got hit really hard. Then A&M really didn't execute with a leadoff hitter gets on in the bottom of the 9th, failed to move him at all. I think you had a missed hit and run. So Dylan Rock is running. You had a hit and run with a pinch hitter and Jordan Thompson. He swings and misses on a hit and run. I think Dylan Rock gets thrown out. That moves the count. So now it goes from 1-1-1, 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, which is a really good time to hit and run in that situation. And then it moves it to 1-2 with 2 outs and nobody on, and a light hitting guy at the plate. He struck out the next pitch, I believe. So like the pressure went from Auburn to A&M really quickly in the span of 2 pitches, or the momentum, I should say. The momentum of the game, A&M had it in the bottom of the 9th. There's some buzz around Olson. You're going to walk it off on Friday night, and then a swing and miss on a hit and run. Runner gets thrown out, strike out the next pitch. The momentum goes all the way back into Auburn's dugout. And what happens the first pitch at the top of the 10th? You get a hit batter. Auburn gets their lead guy on, right? And really, Auburn got a run in, but they didn't execute at a high level either.
Right.
It was a bad bunt. Remember, they got a bad bunt to Moo. He throws the guy out at 3rd. Okay. Well, then Moo spikes a breaking ball and allows the runner to move up 90 feet from 2nd. So you ended up bunting it for him. So it was just, and he gets a strikeout. Then he gives up a base hit. It wasn't great baseball in the 9th and 10th innings, and I think Coach Schlossnagle would say that, and that's where you ended up losing the series.
It reminds me a lot of basketball, and what I mean by that is there was a stretch of basketball where I was like, all right, they're up by 20. They're going to give this up here soon. It's coming. That run is coming, and I feel that way a lot of times. They got a lead in the 8th inning, the 9th inning. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know how we're going to survive this one, and that's just where they are.
Yeah, and I think, too, that on the offensive mentality, I hope that they don't put more pressure on themselves. Since they went to Baton Rouge, the offense has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Man. Like they're getting some really good swings. They're more competitive. I do think, to Coach Schlossnagle's point, they're striking out probably a little bit too much. Some guys need to cut some of that stuff out. Because, like, when Ryan Targach hits the baseball, like, it's electric, man. Like, he does some crazy stuff. He's got crazy power. So, with 2 strikes, maybe you cut it down, and I can still cut the swing down. I can still put it on the barrel and hit a 2-strike double. But look, the offense is fine. I just hope they don't start creating more pressure on themselves because they feel like they've got to score in every inning to hold a lead, that kind of thing.
What do you think happens tomorrow? Not necessarily the outcome of the game, but
Dude, I don't know.
Schloss laughed about it, and he was just like,
first 9 guys on the bus.
We just got to figure it out.
I hope Gabe isn't showing up to Olsen around the time the bus leaves tomorrow.
What about Tomas?
No. Not it. Tomas, Gabe, Richard, I don't want any of them on the bus.
No.
I'll take the chances with the guys they got on the roster. But, maybe some names we haven't heard. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do tomorrow. I don't know what they're going to do outside of the guys that we've seen come in games. I don't know. Trey Dillard has a history of being a closer in the SEC at Mizzou, and now he's working on another surgery potentially. So, I guess not potentially. Coach Schlossnagle said he's done for the year, so It sounds like that's going to happen. That was a guy that you were hoping to get back, and he would be a key piece to the bullpen, and it's not going to happen. So, dude, I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right, Brian, by the way, interesting way that Texas lost this week in 2 of those 3 games.
That's wild, man. That kid that gave up the walk-off on the stealing home, he'll learn. I think he's a freshman, and that's kind of his routine and, like, the emotion of the moment, and everybody's on their feet, and I'm on the mound, and, like, this is what we're doing, and this is, like, you don't need to look down that much, like, especially being a left-hander. Now, credit the kid from Tech. I think he's the one that hit the walk-off granny the next day.
Is he the same kid?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He stole home on Friday, hit the walk-off granny on Saturday.
That's pretty amazing. All right, thank you, Brian. Appreciate you. All right, time for Milliken Reserve, farm-to-table community in College Station, homes, trails, wide open spaces. I wish they had pictures there as well, but they don't. But they have a healthy community, and I love that. They build it around nature. And if you are a nature guy, go get yourself some vitamin D and go hang out there. If you're not a nature person, you probably should be. Go enjoy the beauty that's out there. They've got they're dedicated to conservation and a healthy community. They've got so much wide open spaces, 2,600 acres out there, 30 miles of trails. They've got homes out there, an extensive trail, a network of trails throughout that wooded landscape. And you've got all these species living there. There's native species in the preserve woods and the ponds. You've got it all, and you'll love it when you go visit it. Go hiking, go biking, go canoeing, go kayaking, equestrian trails, the evening yoga, the summer camps, the music festivals. And how about the homes? The homes there are beautiful, big lots. Go check it out. It is MillikenReserve.com, MillikenReserve.com.
The show sounds different, but it's still TexAgs. It's TexAgs Radio with David Nuño on The Zone.
If you own construction equipment and need replacement rubber tracks, now's the time to get $200 off your next set of rubber tracks at WPI. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan. Hurry in. $200 off rubber tracks in soon. Highway 21 East at Marino Road, or click WPI.com.
Hippity hop to the George Bush Presidential Library and Museum on Saturday, April 9th for the annual Easter celebration. The event will begin at 9:30 a.m. and include an Easter egg hunt, egg roll, egg toss, carnival games, face painting, kite flying, door prizes, balloon animals, complimentary refreshments, and photos with the Easter Bunny. The free event will be available for children age 7 and under. For more information, visit Bush